Hi guys, and welcome to a brief history of period products. I'm Adeola.
And I'm Meg. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
Right, Adeola, I'm doing the history bit.
Oh, I hated history.
Obviously, we're going to be talking a little bit about periods in history.
Okay, interesting. I was going to ask, what are these?
These things on the table are things that women used to use across history in different locations across the world on their time of the month.
What? Grass?
Yeah. It was used in parts of Africa. Women would use dried grass, roll that up and use it either as a sanitary towel or a tampon.
Okay, that's understandable, but this is literally one piece of paper.
In Japan, they would use super high quality paper.
Paper?
Yeah, and they'd roll it up and they also would use it as a sanitary towel.
Okay, right, but what's this?
So that is wood that is wrapped in lint.
Lint?
So the ancient Greeks would use this as a tampon.
Okay, but they use moss as well. I mean...
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, kind of. But what is this?
It's buffalo skin.
What's that?
So the Native Americans would dry out the buffalo skin and then it would go quite soft. And then what they would do is the women would then use it as a sanitary towel.
I'm sorry, but to all the women who had to go through this, my prayers are with you and thank you for being so pivotal and bringing us the products that we have today.
So it wasn't actually until the mid 1800s that female sanitary products became a thing.
1800?
Yeah. And when I say they became a thing, not the kind of thing that maybe we know now. That is FAR's improved flexible ring pessary. So yeah, this is like a strap that goes around your waist that would obviously go between your legs. So yeah, it's not really giving, sexy. Really,
No. It looks uncomfortable as well. Oh, and that's an apron. What's the apron for? I cannot.
So these rubber bars would hold this bit of fabric over our lady areas to stop you from leaking. Well, this is how it looked on.
It's given, I'm on my period, so I'm gonna wear an apron.
So it wasn't really until the 1920s and 1930s that women finally got like official menstrual products. So
That's
your pads
crazy.
and your tampons. But it was actually quite frowned upon at the time. Women felt really embarrassed. And I think with those products especially, it was quite seen as like a bit shameful and dirty to have your period.
But I do think there's still stigma around periods.
I think it was only like 1985 that the word period was actually first said on air, like in public, on media channels.
Fun fact for you, Meg, the word period was actually only mentioned once in the whole of the Friends episode, so like literally 10 years of
The
Friends.
whole series?
The whole series once.
What, the one where Rachel has the baby?
Yeah, that's the one. And then also, oh my God, it wasn't until 2011 that they started using red dye instead of blue dye for these period adverts. So luckily for us, we've actually moved on a bit. So we've got so many things now. We've got panty liners, we've got pads, ones with wings, one without wings, loads of different tampons, a menstrual cup. We've got menstrual cup, guys. And have you heard of a period panty before?
I actually haven't.
Yeah, these are all the rage now, apparently.
All I can say is I am so happy like we have so many options now.
But how far have we actually come though? For example, this was meant to look like a sweet and it's a tampon. So why are we still disguising the fact that people have periods? Do you know what I mean?
There's still room for development.
100%. So even though it's one of the most natural things in the world, we still get freaked out about certain products that we use for our period, right? Remember when we was talking about the period cup?
We're both openly freaked out about
Yeah,
that. One day.
Maybe one day.
That being said, these reusable products here are cheaper in the long run. I mean, how much does a pack of tampons cost?
It's wild. It's wild. Period poverty is still a massive issue, you know, with like the rising cost of everything and the continuing stigmas as well. Should we Google some things?
Yeah.
Come on.
I love a good stat.
So the World Bank estimates that at least 500 million women and girls globally lack access to the facilities they need to manage their periods.
500 million.
500 million. Another one, more than 1 in 5 people who menstruate in the UK struggle to afford period products. This amounts to an estimated 2.8 million people. That's mad.
Imagine like the dread you must actually feel as well. You dread that point every month, more so than usual.
Right, next one. Around 16.9 million women in the US live in poverty, 2/3 of which cannot afford basic menstrual products.
That is such a large proportion of people.
I know, it's crazy. Do you want to know what breaks my heart though? It's literally teenagers and young adults who struggle the most.
And that's like the most awkward part, really, like when
Yeah.
you're growing up.
It's quite sad.
And these stats that you just saw on Google, this is just from the UK and the US, right? Which
Yeah.
are two of the most developed countries in the world.
Right.
Like, that's just a small proportion of the world. What about period poverty everywhere else?
Right? The rest of the world is a whole completely different story.
Well, sadly, we've got to go now.
Oh yes, guys, the basement's leaking.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.
Bye.